This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it. Hi there, and welcome to the AI Chicks, where we're providing you cool conversations about AI for all, with each episode covering a different topic on how AI is impacting your and our daily lives. I'm your host, Aisha, Wynn, always coming in hot with that fun, unique perspective on tech, and I got my girl here as always.
Hi guys, I'm Lana Hout, and I'm bringing the curls, the charisma, and that entrepreneurial energy.
Lana, I'm bringing the curls today too. You've been inspiring me. I have a
love
little curl
it.
bump.
That's true.
You know, I'm
We're
gonna be
the
in the curly
curly
club. I'm gonna be in the
girls.
curly
Okay.
club. And so in this episode, we're getting into pivoting your career in the age of AI.
Yes, our guest today is Ben Tasker, so let's get into it. Let's welcome Ben Tasker to the AI Chicks podcast.
Hey there, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're good.
Wow. So tell our listeners a bit about yourself.
I'm Ben Tasker. I'm an AI expert and I'm Dean of AI at the world's largest university with over 225,000 students. I focus on what's called applied AI. So AI across the portfolio, but also in STEM. So if you want a deeper expertise, for example, you want to learn how to code AI, you can go to the STEM program for that. But if you want to learn how to use AI for writing, communicating, any of the other great things AI can be used for, is across the portfolio in that sense. So nice to meet you.
And Ben, how'd you get into AI?
Kind of by accident. It was my own upskilling and reskilling journey that really brought me to AI. So my first job, I wanted to be a healthcare administrator. I go into the hospital. My first task is to forecast patient volumes for doctors' offices. And that's a very human task, because if you say there's not a lot of volume, they're going to close a doctor's office. That could have impact, right? But I also thought like, oh, the hospitals use data all the time. We must have the data. It was on paper. I had to go meet with clinicians. It wasn't what I thought it was. That brought me to a thinking moment. How can we make this better? Data science was coming up in that time. Data science is now AI, in my opinion. AI, analytics, all those words are pretty much the same now. So I went into data science field. I got my master's in data science and data analytics. I then learned how to optimize for missing data, became more data literate, because I understand the algorithms and the machine learning, the algorithms that we use, like LLMs, for example. I knew enough about AI to make myself useful to companies. And then that transitioned me into making patient algorithms, student algorithms, applied AI programs, upskilling frameworks, all the stuff I'm really good at now. But it was really from that experience of not knowing something that steered me in the direction of learning more about other things.
Well, I love that. Thank you so much for giving us that background, because that really is reflective of our personal journeys too. And I also just love for people to hear how you can not come from a computer science background and still be very successful in learning and applying AI. So thank you, Ben, for that. And kind of on that note, we always go to AI to hear AI's take on the given topic. And so we went to Gemini. So let's hear what Gemini had to say about pivoting your career in this AI age.
According to Gemini, the AI revolution isn't about replacing people, but rather reshaping work by automating tasks and augmenting human capabilities. To stay employable, it's crucial to pivot your career by embracing AI fluency, getting hands-on with relevant AI tools, and understanding core AI concepts. Focus on uniquely human skills like creativity, emotional intelligence, complex problem-solving, and critical thinking, as AI still struggles in these areas. Leverage your existing domain expertise to become the bridge between AI's power and your industry's needs. Ultimately, cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and adaptability, and exploring emerging AI-related roles, will be key to thriving in this evolving landscape.
All right, Ben, so what's your take on all of this?
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, "Oh no." Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, "This is the last one," knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
What's interesting
let us know your
with
thoughts.
this response is yes, it's accurate. So yes, AI did do a good job. It also captures the human skills though, which is what we would want to hear. There's a lot of information here, and I'm not going in order, but it says you have to go from panic to pivot, which I typically talk about on podcasts. So how to transition from a layoff or a close layoff scenario to either a new career or how to get better at your current career. The human skills it points out, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, critical thinking. One of the top AI uses for LLMs right now actually is empathy and communication. So yes, I mean, AI can do those things, but humans are probably better at those tasks, at least for near term, midterm. But humans are then going to the AI to figure out those complex conversations or whatever you're going there for empathy for. Like, that's a pretty vague term. That could be a lot of things to me, but it's a continuous learning and adaptability. If you want to stay current in this, you have to have that continuous mindset. And we're in what I call the between times. So we're not really into the future and we're not really out of the past yet. We're still defining this. We're going to have some AI, what I call gotcha moments. So things aren't going to go that great with these implementations. But eventually, I think at the end of the road, kind of like when the car was introduced, everybody's going to get a car and there's not going to be many horses anymore, so to speak. So we're in that time, but you have to learn how to drive the car. You have to learn how to keep the car safe. You have to build the road. You have to do all the things that an automobile requires that are now a luxury. All those things, highways were built around cars, right? Same thing with AI, and making sure that you're always learning how to do it. Like a car drives, probably the first car drove differently than a current car, right? So you still have to learn how to drive. Everybody goes through that. Same with AI fluency.
I think the interesting thing about AI is that AI put a light on the education system in a very different way. AI has been around for a long time. What changed was AI going into the hands of the general consumer with ChatGPTs and Geminis and Copilots, these LLMs that now were available to everyone. That's what really changed the game in my perspective, because when it was just for the tech people, it was kind of in the tech community, it was very insulated. Once it left just the tech community to the broader general audience, then everyone started being like, how can I use it in my business? How can I use it in pursuit of education? How can I use it in my daily life? And I think that's really interesting because that's when it led to job elimination, which is one of the things that we talk about here on the show. But I think it's because of the job elimination that it really put a light onto the education system, because traditionally the education system was for the purpose of educating the general public so that they could become the workforce, right? And so if all of a sudden AI comes onto the scene and now is changing what the workforce looks like, I think it brings the light back to education to say, okay, is what we're teaching our students relevant enough for them when they graduate to go and be part of this workforce? So I'm really curious, Ben, you are a dean. How are you seeing the university that you're at incorporate AI, but also is this going to be a broader change to multiple universities and not even just universities going down to grammar school?
That's a great question. AI is changing everything. It's changing workforce. It's changing education. It's changing our lives. And let's just focus on workforce for a second, and I'll bring this back to education, but I think the two worlds are merging together. So starting with workforce, companies need to upskill over 1 billion people by 2030. Employees that already have degrees need to be reskilled with AI. 1 billion, that's a lot. How do you do that? You can either do it internally, creating your own content. And traditionally, when workforce does that, the content might not be as engaging. It's either going to be created by an AI expert, but they don't have the learning expertise. There's a lot of nuances there. So then they usually rely on the universities to help produce this. There's usually some partnerships, or there's pathways designed between workforce and academia to be able to provide this training. Academia is a little bit behind now, though, with the AI, right?
Exactly.
Now we're back to workforce. So there's this new shift dynamic where workforce could count on the university to provide training, but now it's kind of like they're already 2 years behind. By the time they get caught up, we need to do this now, right? Like AI's now. So at the university, how can you make that work? The World Economic Forum, the same establishment that did this study that found the billion people that need to be upskilled and reskilled, have 2 skill tracks. And I think it's really interesting that there's 2. And they're not soft skills and technical skills anymore. It's human skills, what's unique to a human, communication, everything in that Gemini prompt, essentially. Compassion, leadership, problem solving. Humans are usually going to be pretty good at that, even as AI advances. Then technical skills, they call AI skills. And that's because the AI is going to get really good at that. So coding, systems thinking, analytical thinking. So by taking those skills, attaching it to your programs, and making sure that they're tagged appropriately, students and workforce can know where to go. I need to go learn how to problem solve. You have a catalog. Okay, these 3 courses can teach problem solving. This is how we teach it. I need to go learn prompt engineering. Okay, there's an MBA course on that. I can go take that instead of taking an entire MBA program that may or may not have that skill in it. So skills are more digestible. They stack into degrees. It's an interconnected flow between the workforce and academia, and it creates that more of an ecosystem approach. So other countries, the UK has a Levy program, for example. Learners can go work at a company, and over time, they'll earn that 4-year degree, which costs around $15,000 total. Yes, $15,000 total, not just for 1 year total. And they're earning money at the job. And then while they're at the job, they'll get that degree and they'll get promoted. All in workforce, all in one place. They still work with academia to learn foundation, to learn the theory. So the ecosystem in other countries does exist. I'm not making this up. It's real. And skills-based learning is real. Other countries are doing it. It's just a matter of time, and how do we embrace that? It's changing a system. Education in this country is very bureaucratic. It's all based upon time. Elementary school for this amount of time. Then you go to middle school, and then you go to high school. And then to get a bachelor's degree takes 4 years. AI throws all that out the window.
Yeah. One of the things that stood out to me was this continuous learning and the continuous pivoting. Our society historically, going back to what you were just saying, Ben, you learn and then you're done.
I call it one and done.
Yeah. And just historically, our society across humanity, not just in the US, you go to school, then you're done, then you work on your career and your life and adulting. And what AI really brings to the table is you're not done. and who knows when we're going to be done, because AI continues to evolve. And building off of what you were stating earlier about this, we're like in this interim phase. And then who knows where AI goes from there. So from a psychological and a social economical standpoint, we all just have to get in the new norm of there's going to be continuous learning and adapting and pivoting as our world continues to evolve because of technology.
I think there's a component here where I was just talking about individuals, but there's some onus on companies to make sure that they invest into continuous learning. I know it's not the coolest thing. Sometimes ROI isn't captured. I think we need to start capturing that.
Yeah.
It's not a lost cause, especially with AI. Everything's changing, and companies need to change with it too. And if companies invest into the continuous learning, it will trickle down. I was talking about the trickle up. I think it needs to meet in the middle. So that way it's an ecosystem.
Yeah. Lana, you being in the business space with a lot of different companies, when you hire someone, you're hiring them for their skills and their knowledge and their experience, and they're just supposed to know the job, right? But in this new day and age, they can be really good at their skills, but because of the evolution of tech and AI and where we're going, they may still also have to have the grace to have to continue to learn. Yeah.
But if you really think about it, in most industries, the entry level position, they're okay to learn on the job, right? But now when someone's been in the position for 10 years, 15 years, they know the job, they know the industry, they have that expertise. But now tech is coming in. This upskilling and reskilling just becomes really important. Ask AI, I'm in this industry. What should I know about AI impacting my industry? What should I learn? It's very cool that you could actually ask the tech what you should be learning from the tech. And I think that's a very unique situation. Most of the time you don't have that kind of dynamic. But for me, I just think that what do you need to do to actually make your job not dispensable?
I think staying market relevant really goes back to skills. So instead of thinking about like, this is my job, and I know that's like why we go to school and then you go to work to do that job, reverse it. So what skills do you currently have that you think you're really good at? Okay, what am I not good at? How do I go acquire those skills? Some ways you can acquire those skills is that you can sign up for additional projects. I understand that's additional work, but if you want experience, if I'm a data scientist and I want to go learn project management, maybe I can learn how to lead a project while I'm on a project. You'll have a mentor, you'll have another project manager that professionally does that. You can acquire that skill. It's really developing a learning plan. Physically write it down on paper. You're 75% more capable of completing it than if you just think it or talk it, or even if you type it. These are the skills I'm good at. These are the skills I want to acquire. This is how I'm going to do it. You'll be able to do any job because you'll have all these skills, and skills are transferable. It's like a currency. You can trade them in when you need them. Even if the degree you have becomes obsolete, if AI replaces that entire industry, you can still lean back on your skills and say, hey, I was really good at communicating. I understand how to use this AI thing now. I have some technical expertise just by learning and doing things on the side. I'm going to start my own business doing X, Y, and Z. And then you just keep going. So instead of being struck back by the change, you're changing with it. I call it rowing. You're always continuously rowing.
Yeah, it's being proactive.
So you have a framework. It's learn, apply, share, reflect, repeat. And so wanted to hear more about why does that work better than like a traditional career path?
Practicing skills. Everything I talk about skills. So I'm going to say skills 1,000 times here. But if I want to go learn something, you can do it a couple ways. You can go learn the theory. So that could be in the classroom. That could be in a micro learning. That could be at the library. However you want to learn something, then you have to practice and apply it. So back to driving the car example, before I got my license, I had to put a certain number of hours behind the wheel. I had to pass a test. That's all practice. To pass the test, you have to validate those skills. But I'm still learning how to drive. Not every road's the same. Sometimes I'm in a different car. Cars are also gaining AI, so how to use AI in your car. And then eventually, maybe sometimes you're teaching someone. When I have children, I'll probably teach them to drive, unless AI takes that too. But that's the highest level of understanding something, though. My point is that you can teach someone how to do something or talk about it.
What is your thoughts about the supply and demand of training others in AI? Most of the people that are knowledgeable in the AI space are from the tech world. And then you need to be able to learn and have this applied in a lot of different industries, everything from manufacturing to transportation to retail. The list goes on and on. Entertainment, which is the world I'm in. I think that there's a supply and demand issue. There's not enough people skilled in AI, whether it's in a university or school setting, or if it's in a workforce setting, to do this overhaul of training and onboarding and educating billions of people that you mentioned earlier that need to be knowledgeable and skilled in this way. So do you think that there's a supply and demand issue when it comes to training and educating everybody else?
So there is a supply and demand issue, but I think individuals are kind of overcomplicating it. I think when you think of an AI expert, they're like a Microsoft alum, one of those big tech firm alums, and you need their knowledge to go learn AI. So when I introduce myself, I distinguish it as applied AI. So it's using some of the AI theory, but not as much as probably some of these experts, so that you can use AI for your job, but you don't need to know the algorithms. So the best way to become the AI expert is to go learn these AI tools. How would I use this at my job? Showcase it. And then now you're the AI expert. You can go learn the algorithms and everything after if you're interested in that. But most people just want to know how to use Copilot, for example, to answer an email. Yeah, okay, that might sound easy, but there's a bunch of skills that go into that, some prompt frameworks. You can make a prompt framework for your department. So you just upskilled however many people are in your department just by understanding the technology.
There's a level of people understanding their own learning styles. It's interesting because in the tech space, I'm very much take initiative, self-taught, all of those things. But if it's about going to the gym, like I need a trainer. When my little brother's in town, I'm the healthiest person because he's on top of eating healthy, working out, and I'm on my P's and cues when it comes to health and wellness and fitness. But then he leaves and I like haven't been to the gym since or haven't done a workout since.
For me, in the business entrepreneurship space, I'm always trying to figure out how to use AI to streamline, optimize, and make my life better faster.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm just super passionate about, which is why I love this conversation. We get to talk about how we all as a society need to improve ourselves.
Yeah, it's a testament to Ben because you were in a different field and then you're like, I'm going to go study data science. And so, but again, that goes back to the type of individual you are, know thyself, and then figure out what works for you.
Also, I just wanted to kind of point out, doing nothing is not going to work. I guess.
Bingo.
Okay.
I also think learning can be fun. So yes, everything we just discussed, that's totally true. You can learn AI all those ways. You can also create a free account. It doesn't cost any money. Plan a vacation, plan a workout, plan a meal. Do something you always do and see if it's right, and then to go learn more and then apply it to your job. So the learn, practice, apply methodology, sometimes you need to start and practice, right? It's a circle.
Yes, yeah.
And for me, I understood like, hey, I don't have any of these data or AI skills. I'm going to go learn that. I was in a pain point. I was frustrated. Sometimes people are a little resistance. In order to learn to ride a bike, you just got to ride it. So go plan a vacation, do something fun. Even if you have an itinerary, you can give it to it and see if it comes up with something better.
Yes.
I know you've said in the past, visibility equals opportunity, and you really were kind of talking about personal brand for individuals. What happens if someone's not into like self-promotion? How should they go about building their brand in this AI age so that they can be a desirable workforce member?
So AI is a recommendation system. So it recommends things that it thinks you want to learn about, see, whatever the case may be. The keyword there is recommend. It becomes very personalized. If you interact with an LLM and you look yourself up in it and there's not much there, it's because it doesn't have any data to recommend even to yourself. It really goes back to that skills framework, but just transitioning over it to a personal standpoint. So even if you've never done this, the easiest thing to do is to go to LinkedIn, create an account if you don't have one. Keep the account active. Do post regularly, do blogs. Highlight your skills, stuff that you're really good at, that you're expert for. You can publish anything on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can make a website. Yeah, you can do all these other fancy things like podcasts and other opportunities. But if you don't have the basics down, you're not going to do these more intimidating things. So in order to be captured in those algorithms, it's really important to make sure that you have a personal brand now. You're highlighting your skills. You have some sort of digital footprint. I know that's not a focus for a lot of people, but it's going to become a changing factor, especially as more and more people start to realize the sooner you get in, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. And I think that for the younger generation, this is going to be their new norm. What about degrees? Do degrees still hold real value for those who are looking to build careers for tomorrow, those who are in school, those who are thinking of how do I pivot a new career because my career is now going to AI or robots and having to pivot? What should they be thinking about when it comes to skill set versus going and getting a degree?
I think degrees have been relevant for a long amount of time. I still think they're going to be relevant in the future. It's just a way to validate that you know something really well, especially like in medicine. You really want to make sure that physician or nurse has that degree, right? So that's why I think they're going to stay around. I think the entire landscape's going to change, though. I don't think sitting in a room for 4 years and then going out to industry is going to be mainstream anymore. It's too expensive. It takes too much time. By the time you're done learning, it's already changed. There's a lot of limitations. So it's going to become more of an ecosystem. So maybe if I want to become a mechanic, I spend some time in the shop, I learn some theory at the school, I interchange, right? Like you're always going back and forth. Maybe it's not 4 years, maybe it's 2 years, however long it takes for you to master something, to show that skill. But I think the time component of this is going to become shorter. I think people are going to be able to learn things faster, especially with AI, because we're learning faster. The value of the skills is going to be shorter. So right now, a skill usually lasts 5 years. I think with AI, it's going to be around 2 just because everybody has the ability to learn now. There's going to be more skills available. New jobs are going to be created. It's going to create that ecosystem. So in that environment, just sitting in a classroom for the 4 years to get that degree, yeah, that does have value, but I don't think it's the same value as always having an updated skill. It's kind of like a computer or a cell phone. Do you want the one from 10 years ago? I'm sure it still has some value, but no one wants that.
And who knows, cell phones might not even be around in the next 10. For anyone who's listening and has fear around AI, fear around losing their job, you mentioned earlier this panic to pivot thing. Is there one thing you would say to them that they should do, think about, consider? What's your one piece of advice that they can take away from this?
My biggest piece of advice is if you haven't used an AI tool, go pick any random one. Do something fun with it. I said it before, but learning can be fun. The second thing I would do is create that learning plan. What stuff do I think I'm really good at? How do I validate that? And then how do I get good at things that I need to acquire for X goal? So come up with a goal and then work towards that goal. The world's changing. Workforce is changing. It's really time to get back in the game with continuous learning and making sure that you start your journey early, because once something already happens, it's too late to pivot. So you should start the pivot early.
Well, talk about dropping gems.
I know, this has been a really great episode.
We could keep going.
But before we do,
Yes.
we should just end, I think, this podcast on a game.
Yes, we're going to get into a game here. In every episode, we like to induct our guests into the AI squad. And you need a nickname.
Ben, do you have any nicknames?
To be a smart aleck, I mean, my nickname's Ben because my real name's Benjamin, but
Touche.
Okay, so we could call him Ben. Classic.
We don't have any Bens in our squad.
Yeah, I guess so. You could be the first Ben. I know you mentioned skills.
Yes,
You know, like
yes.
Mr. Skills or
Mr. Skill Setter.
the skill setter.
Ooh, how do you like that?
Do you like that?
skill setter.
With you're the skill setter.
It sounds like a superhero. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's why we like it for
Yeah.
you. Okay, Lana, do you have another one you want to throw out to him? We got Ben. We got the skill setter.
You know what? His last name is Tasker.
I know. I thought about that too.
And what can we do with the
Taskmaster.
So some of my friends call me Task Force.
Oh!
Yeah.
Task Force. Okay.
I like Task Force.
Okay. So Task Force, the skill setter.
You have superhero
and then
name. Ben.
Ben.
Okay, so Ben, which one would you like to go with as your nickname inducted into the AI squad?
I'll go with Task Force.
Task Force.
All right, we got it.
We got Task Force
in the house. Woo, woo.
Thank you for the induction.
It's official. And one of the other things that I just wanted to touch on as we wrap this up is accessibility. You talked about making sure that you have fun and play with this, and wanted to just get also some last words from you on the democratization of AI and the accessibility of that. Any advice for people there? You know, we don't want people to feel like it's for the few. This can be for the many, and it should be accessible to everyone. Any last word just to really encourage all different people from walks of life, different classes about getting into AI?
So even AI exists not on the internet. So if you don't have access to the internet, there's ways that you can download these LLMs to interact with them. They might not be the latest, greatest. The information in them might not be as current, but you can interact with tools that aren't connected to the internet to practice. You can also sign up for as many tools as possible for free. It doesn't have to be a GPT. If you like making movies, go sign up for one of those tools. If you just want to make a basic presentation, there's some of those tools available. It gets you into the habit of prompting. Back to that learning plan, what stuff am I really good at? Maybe you start at that list and then figure out a way to apply AI. But there's so much opportunity out there. I couldn't name them all.
Very true.
Well,
very
thank
true.
you so much, Ben, for being on the AI Chicks. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our episodes on the AIchicks.com or anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to follow us and grab that merch, y'all. All right, take care. Bye.
Listen to the AI Chicks on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Video episodes are available on Patreon. And check out our socials at The AI Chicks.